In the world of pro wrestling, there are some rivalries that simply transcend time. Austin Rock, Bret Hart, Shaun Michaels, Undertaker-Triple H. But for the last 2 decades, there has been one rivalry that defined an entire era. A feud that captivated an entire generation and created 2 icons, John Cena and Randy Orton. And now, with Cena holding the WWE Championship and Orton's making his intentions clear, it's time for one final chapter to conclude this legendary saga. But this time, the roles are reversed. For 20 years, Orton has been the manipulative villain, while Cena played the heroic face. Now Cena is the arrogant heel, and Orton is the crowd favorite babyface. So how should WWE handle this monumental clash? To find the answer, we first need to look back at the epic history that made this rivalry what it is. Although they have crossed paths a few times in their early WWE careers, but it wasn't until 2007 that we got the first real chapter in what would become one of wrestling's greatest rivalries. By 2007, John Cena had already established himself as the face of WWE. He was in the middle of a year-long WWE Championship reign that had fans divided. Some loved his never-give-up attitude, while others were growing tired of the same old Superman comeback. Meanwhile, Randy Orton had recently broken away from his tag team with Edge and was looking to reclaim his spot at the company's top. Orton knew that to be the top guy, he needed to take out the top guy, and Cena was standing in his way. Their collision course started when Orton ambushed Cena after a match on Raw and laid him out with an RKO. With Jonathan Coachman naming Orton the #1 contender, the stage was set for their first major showdown at SummerSlam 2007. The build to the album, their SummerSlam match, showed exactly why Orton was so dangerous. He didn't just want to beat Cena, he wanted to humiliate him. At SummerSlam 2007, Cena and Orton delivered a hard-hitting match that showcased both men's strengths. The crowd was split, with many fans hoping to see a new champion crowned. But in classic Cena fashion, he managed to overcome the odds and retain his WWE title. For Orton, this wasn't just a loss. It was fuel for the menace he would go on to become. During Cena's match against Booker T on Raw the following night, Orton didn't just attack Cena. He crossed a line that changed the entire dynamic of their feud. In a moment that shocked the WWE Universe, Orton spotted Cena's father sitting ringside and delivered a brutal punt kick to his head. This wasn't just a wrestling angle anymore. Orton had made it personal, attacking Cena's family and showing just how far he was willing to go to get what he wanted. The attack led to their next confrontation at Unforgiven, where an enraged Cena was so focused on revenge that he got himself disqualified for attacking Orton relentlessly before and during the match. In a moment of poetic justice after the match, Cena locked Orton in the STF while his father delivered a punt kick of his own to the Viper. The crowd erupted, but the rivalry was far from over. WWE immediately booked what was supposed to be their final showdown, a last man standing match at No Mercy to settle the score once and for all. Orton, still laser-focused on breaking Cena mentally, forced Cena's father into a match on Raw, handcuffing Cena to the ring post so he would be forced to watch as Orton brutalized his dad. This sadistic side of Orton's character showed exactly why he was one of the most dangerous men in WWE history. Just when it seemed the rivalry couldn't get more intense, fate intervened most unexpectedly. In October 2007, just a week before their scheduled last man standing match at No Mercy, Cena tore his pectoral muscle during a match with Mr. Kennedy on Raw. Despite the serious injury, Cena finished the match and even endured a post-match attack from Orton. The injury forced Cena to vacate the WWE Championship, cutting their feud short just as it was reaching its peak. Vince McMahon awarded the vacant title to Orton at No Mercy, though his reign would initially last just 20 minutes before losing to Triple H. In one of the most chaotic nights in WWE history, Orton would regain the title later that same night by defeating Triple H in the last man standing match that was originally meant for Cena. With Cena sidelined for what was expected to be 6 to 8 months, Orton's reign of terror continued. He established himself as the company's top villain, holding the WWE Championship and dispatching challenger after challenger. But the story of Cena and Orton was far from over. It was just taking an intermission. The 2008 Royal Rumble delivered one of the most electrifying moments in WWE history when John Cena made a shocking return as the 30th entrant. The arena erupted as Cena, who wasn't expected back for several more months, stormed the ring and eventually won the Royal Rumble match, earning a championship opportunity that everyone assumed would be saved for WrestleMania. But Cena, driven by his desire to reclaim what he never lost and to get revenge on Orton, did something unexpected. Instead of waiting for WrestleMania, he cashed in his title shot at No Way Out. The message was clear. Cena wanted Orton, and he wanted him now. Their unfinished business couldn't wait. Once again, Orton showed his cunning. During their No Way Out match, when it became clear that Cena might take the title, Orton slapped the referee and deliberately got himself disqualified. It was the ultimate heel move. Orton lost the match, but kept his title, and Cena's Rumble victory was essentially wasted. This led to a triple threat match at WrestleMania 24, where Triple H was added to the mix. Despite the odds being against him, Orton retained his championship in a surprise finish, pinning Cena to create another chapter in their story. Following WrestleMania, the direct one-on-one feud between Cena and Orton cooled for a while. Both men moved on to other rivalries, with Orton eventually losing the WWE Championship in a fatal four-way match at Backlash 2008. Their rivalry would reignite in mid-2009. By this point, the WWE landscape had changed somewhat, but the intensity between Cena and Orton remained the same. At SummerSlam 2009, Orton defended his regained WWE Championship against Cena in a match that showcased just how well the two knew each other. Orton repeatedly got himself disqualified and used the ropes for leverage, forcing the match to be restarted multiple times. Eventually, with help from Ted DiBiase's brother, Orton managed to hit an RKO and retain his title. But this loss only intensified Cena's determination. Their next confrontation would come at breaking point in an I Quit match, a stipulation that seemed tailor-made for Cena's never-give-up attitude. The match was brutal, with Orton dominating much of the action. He handcuffed Cena, beat him with a kendo stick, and pushed him to his absolute limit. But in true Cena fashion, he managed to turn the tide, eventually forcing Orton to say the words, "I quit," after locking in the STF submission hold. The match would go down as one of the most significant chapters in this rivalry and the history of WWE itself. The victory gave Cena back the WWE Championship, but Orton wasn't done. Just weeks later at Hell in a Cell, they met inside the demonic structure, where there would be no disqualifications and no escapes. In the end, Orton kicked Cena in the head to reclaim the title, showing that for every answer Cena had, that all changed in late 2013 when the pieces fell into place for their rivalry to reignite. Daniel Bryan had just defeated Cena clean to win the WWE Championship in the main event of SummerSlam in a passing of the torch moment. But Bryan's celebration was short-lived. Randy Orton, now back to his villainous ways, came to the ring with his Money in the Bank briefcase. After Triple H betrayed Bryan with a pedigree, Orton cashed in to win the title, completing his heel turn and establishing himself once again as his top villain. Over the next few months, the WWE Championship picture remained chaotic. Bryan briefly reclaimed the title at Night of Champions before Orton won it back at Hell in a Cell. Meanwhile, John Cena had returned from an injury to win the World Heavyweight Championship from Alberto Del Rio. Cena and Orton now held WWE's two major championships simultaneously. This set the stage for one of the most significant matches of their rivalry. And now here we are. Almost a decade after their last encounter on SmackDown in 2017, it's time for the final chapter of this epic rivalry. As John Cena promises to ruin wrestling as the WWE Champion, there's only one man who could possibly serve as his kryptonite, Randy Orton. But what makes this potential showdown so special isn't just the history, but how dramatically the dynamics have changed. For the first time, we're looking at John Cena as the heel, the arrogant champion who calls himself the greatest of all time. With The Rock publicly backing him and Cena's disregard for the fans who once meant everything to him, this is a Cena we've never seen before. His character has evolved from the ideal hero to now, finally, the villain who believes his own hype. Meanwhile, Orton has transformed into the unlikely fan favorite, the respected veteran who's seen and done it all. The build to their final encounter could feature callbacks to their storied history. Imagine Cena handcuffing Orton to the ring post and mercilessly beating him, a direct parallel to what Orton did to him in their iconic I Quit match. We can also see Cena crossing lines we never thought possible, perhaps targeting Orton's wife at ringside or bringing Orton's children into the psychological warfare. But this is where things get interesting, because Randy Orton isn't just a simple babyface either. He's still the Viper, still ruthlessly dangerous, still ready to strike from anywhere. What makes Orton the perfect antidote to an arrogant Cena is that he knows every weakness John has. He studied him for decades. When Cena tries to play mind games, Orton can respond with the calm, cold precision that has made him one of WWE's most feared competitors. Orton can invade Cena's house. He can beat him up in the parking lot. He can invade TV shows and podcasts to beat up Cena and remind fans what made this rivalry so iconic in the first place. Backlash 2025 in Orton's hometown of St. Louis is the perfect setting for this final confrontation. And what better stipulation for this final chapter than a last man standing match? The exact match we never got due to Cena's injury in 2007. The match itself could be a masterpiece in storytelling that showcases their entire history. Early on, Cena would likely play the sly heel and avoid direct confrontation with Orton. When Orton finally gets his hands on Cena, he'd take control with the methodical offense he's known for, punishing the champion and and dismantling him limb for limb. But Cena, now embracing the dark side, would use every cheap tactic in the book to regain control, like eye pokes, low blows, and every weapon in sight. After more back-and-forth action and 20 minutes of these legends destroying each other, after 20 minutes of RKOs through tables, attitude adjustments from ladders, and punt kick teases, Cena might hit a devastating low blow and lock in the STF with a rope, wrenching back with more intensity than we've ever seen from him until Orton passes out. Orton barely regains consciousness at the count of 8, but fails to answer the referee's count as Cena gets the win. As Cena celebrates his final victory, holding the championship high above a fallen Orton, he might approach his longtime rival with an extended hand, a gesture of respect after years of warfare. Orton, barely able to stand, would accept the handshake in a moment of mutual acknowledgement, only to suddenly hit an RKO out of nowhere. This ending would allow Cena to retain the title while giving Orton the last laugh in his hometown, ending the story just like it started with an RKO out of nowhere in 2007.